I met my future husband working at a television station. We both were working at the same TV station. Nolan, that's my husband, Nolan grew up in a very religious Christian family. In fact, he descends from evangelical ministers. And yet, all his siblings became Baha'is. His parents are still very Christian. We met at work, and we met and became close through, believe it or not only the Bahai work, Bahai service, but through social action. He became a member of the NAACP. We both were very active in the NAACP local chapter. And I was involved in a number of feminist organizations in town. And I think that our relationship grew and cemented in that parallel work. I had to end up with somebody who would want to change the environment that he lives in. And I naturally ended up with someone who traded in a little bit of his white privilege while doing so, because Nolan's world oftentimes is not very white. Oftentimes he's the minority in a number of settings. But we literally met through our desire to serve and through our desire to change things and make them different. A lot of people ask me if Nolan and I had a lot of challenges because of our relationship. And we had a few, but we certainly didn't have the number of challenges that my parents had. And my parents were a black couple, and yet they looked like an interracial couple. And they had horrible situations that would happen to them in public. But Nolan and I, the racism and the bigotry that we dealt with was very, very subtle and didn't happen often, although there was one story. And if Nolan had married a white woman, this would not have been an experience that he has in his life. But when we decided to get married, we decided to get married in Michigan, close to where our relatives were. And we were driving from New Hampshire to Michigan, which meant that we took a route through Canada to then get back into the United States. Well, very interestingly enough, we had no problem when we entered into Canada. But when we entered into the United States on the Michigan side, or the New York State side rather, we had some challenges. We were pulled aside, told to get out of our car, and the official drilled both of us separately. He did not believe that we were going to Michigan to get married, so we opened up the back of the car and showed him the wedding dress that was there. He just was really having a hard time believing that we were together within the context of the relationship that we were in. We very politely wrote down his identifying information on his badge, and we let him know that we would be talking to whoever his bosses were about the fact that he was detaining us, and there was really no reason for him to be detaining us. And then he got pretty friendly pretty quickly, and then we ended up being able to go on our way. And Nolan fumed the whole way to where we were getting married. I wasn't fuming because I wasn't surprised. And so I think the nature of my relationship with Nolan has been one in which he has been an eyewitness to the realities of the everyday scenarios like that happen, that he had never ever dealt with prior to that happening. After we got married, maybe married about a year, we went to visit my father in Connecticut. We check into a hotel in Connecticut, and the person at the desk says to us, "We don't do that kind of business here." My husband said, "What kind of business do you think we are trying to do here?" They thought I was a prostitute. Now, I was in a sweatsuit outfit. Okay, I certainly didn't look like a prostitute. But because we were a black-white couple, that's what the automatic assumption was, that we were checking into this hotel. My husband had never dealt with anything quite like that before. He still talks about that story with anger. He was just absolutely annoyed and angered by it, mostly because of how they were framing me.